Hey everyone, today we will solve the problem first non-repeating character in a stream. So basically you are given an input stream like A, B, C, and at every point you have to tell what is the first character so far which has been seen only once. Let's first understand what a stream is. So just like a stream of water in which water is flowing, but here instead of water there will be some characters flowing. So what I mean is, suppose this is our stream given. Initially you receive A, next you receive B, next this, and so on. So at any point we only have knowledge of the characters which have been seen so far, or we can say we do not know about the elements coming after that particular instant. So when you receive A, you do not know about any element which is coming in future. You do not know about B, C, D or E. Similarly, when you are at B, you know that that it has seen A, but you do not know about C, D and E. So that is what stream means. Let's come back to the main problem, what exactly it is actually asking from us. So you are given an input stream and you have to tell which character has appeared only once in the stream up to that particular point only. For example, if we see the example 1, when you are at first A, you have only seen this A, and your first non-repeating character so far will be A. Like A is a character and it has not repeated yet. When you are at another A, now you have seen only A and that has been repeated. So have you seen any non-repeating character? No. In that case it will output hash. Hash means it has not seen any non-repeating character now, like all the characters that it has seen are repeating. Then you see B. Now B you are seeing for the first time, so it is non-repeating and it is your first non-repeating character so far because A has been repeated. So next comes B. Now when you are at C, now you have both B and C as non-repeating characters, but you will choose B because you want to output the first non-repeating character. So that is this example. Now let's consider another example. Let's say this is your input and I will start writing my output here. First you see A, it is not repeating so far, so output will be A. Then you see B, so the first non-repeating character is still A, so you output A. Then you see C, but the first non-repeating character is again A. Then you see A. Now first non-repeating character is not A, it becomes B. Next you are at C, so the first non-repeating character is still B. Then you are at D, first non-repeating character is still B. Next comes B. Now if you are looking from the beginning, your A is repeating, your B is also repeating now because you are at B, C is also repeating, so D becomes your first non-repeating character. Next, even D is repeating, so now all of the characters so far that we have seen are repeating, so it becomes hash. And finally when it comes E, so this becomes your first non-repeating character. So this is the problem. Okay, how do we approach this? So there is first observation that we need to track the number of times an element has appeared, and this number is only going to grow. Like if you are at some point, like if you are at here and you see that the number of times A has appeared is 2, now next it can only increase. A will appear 3 times. If we see A again, it will never decrease. So we will require a data structure which will store its frequency, how many times a character is seen so far. So to store the frequency, we can use some hash map. Like for character A, its frequency will be 2. For character B, its frequency will be 5. And every time we see some character, we will increment it. Like if we see A, so it will be incremented to 3. If we see B, we will increment it to 6. Also, a non-repeating character will be appearing exactly one time, not 0 time or 2 or more times. So when its frequency is 0, what it means is we have never seen it. So it can never be your first non-repeating character. When it is 1, it means you have seen it and you have seen it only once. So it has not repeated yet. That is your non-repeating character. And if you see 2, 3 or more, in those cases, it means you have already seen them multiple times. So that can never be your non-repeating character. So only this case, this is your non-repeating character. And once its frequency becomes 2, we don't care whether it becomes 3 or 4. It can never be your non-repeating character. So first observation, we require to know about the frequency of characters. So we will be using this hash map. Okay, next, second observation. In case of multiple non-repeating characters, we would want to output the character which we saw first. So for example, when you are at B in this example, now your A is also a non-repeating character, your B is also a non-repeating character, but you prefer A because you have seen it first. A will always be your first non-repeating character until it starts repeating. And as soon as A starts repeating, you will fall back to some next character which is in its order of arrival. Like you will not directly jump to E. If there is any possibility that B is not repeated, then B will be your answer. Otherwise it will fall back to some next. So first character should be accessed first. Does any of it ring any bell about which data structure we should use to track this order? I would want you to pause this video here for a while and think about the data structure which should help us here. This is very important for this problem, and you will be able to learn something only when you also involve yourself into this rather than just watching the video. Alright, so okay, as we discussed in our last video, queue reversal, when we want the elements in the same order as they come, or we call it first in first out, we would use a queue. And when we want the element in reverse order of arrival, or we call it last in first out, we will use stack. In this problem, we want the same order, so we would use queue. If the problem was asking for last non-repeating character, like what has been the last non-repeating character so far, then you would be using stack. So in that problem, everything would be same, only we would be replacing a queue with a stack, and rest would be exactly same. We will show that in the end of this video. All right, we have observed that we would use a hash map. We have observed that we would use a queue. Let's combine these together and see how it will help us come up with the solution of this problem. So at every character, first we will increment its count in our hash map. Then we will push this character in the queue so that we can track its order of arrival. Now we have to return a character which is our output. We will check if the element in front of our queue is non-repeating. So if it is a non-repeating, then since it is the front of the queue, so we also know that it is first non-repeating, so it is our output. Second case is if it is repeating. If it is repeating, then we should remove it from the queue so that we can find our next first non-repeating character, right? So we will remove this element and then we will again try to check the new front of the queue, and we will keep going on like that to find our first non-repeating character. Okay, there is one thing we just observed here, that in the queue we do not want any repeating character. So while inserting a character, if we already know that it is a repeating character, we will not insert it. This will help us optimize our space, as the repeating characters will not take the space in the queue. So we can change step 2, that is while we are pushing the character, we should also check whether this character is already a repeating one or not. So this is the new constant that I have added in step 2, that we should push the character in the queue only if its count is 1, so that we are adding only the non-repeating characters. So let's code now. So first we will create our hash map or an order map. Next will be a queue of characters to keep track of the order of arrival. Now at each character, first we have to increment the count of that character in our hash map, Also, this will also work if the character is appearing first time, because in that case MP of that character will be 0 by default, and it will increment it. And then we will push it only if its count is 1. So if MPC equals 1, only then we have to push it. Now let's check what would be our first non-repeating character. So we have to check while not q.empty until we find a non-repeating character. So q.front, whether it is a repeating character or not repeating. How do we check that? So mpq.front is not equals 1. So while mpq.front is not equals 1 means while this character is at the front of the queue is a repeating character, what we have to do is we have to do q.pop. We have to keep removing this element. Now there are two cases. One case is queue becomes empty, or another case is we find that non-repeating character. So in any of the case, also let's declare a string answer. So we have to append the output for this character to this answer. So in case the queue becomes empty, in that case what we will do is we will output hash, otherwise it will be on front of the queue. That is it, and finally return the answer. That should be it. Let's compile and check. Yes, it's working. Let's submit it. Alright, let's comes to another problem which is not asked here. What if the problem asked for the last non-repeating character? First, let's dry run our example. What would be the output when you are seeing A? This is your last non-repeating character. When you see B, this is your last non-repeating character. When you see C, this will be your last non-repeating character. When you see A again, your last non-repeating character is C. Now you have seen C, so your last non-repeating character is not C, it is not A, because both of them have been repeated, so it becomes B. Then you see D, your last non-repeating character is D. Then you see B, so your last non-repeating character becomes D. Now D is not your last non-repeating character, D is repeating, C is also repeating, B is also repeating, A is also repeating, all of them are repeating, so it becomes hash. Then you see E. So this will be the output. Now I'm saying that to solve the last repeating character problem, all we have to do is to replace our queue with a stack, and now our code will start using the last in first out order. So it will prioritize the last characters. You can try a simple dry run to understand this. Okay, let's make the change in our code. Okay, so I will replace this queue with a stack, and let's not change the name because then it would be a lot of changes. All I have to do is when you are doing this q.front, you will be changing it to q.top. Everything else should be fine. Okay, now compile and run. So in case of A, B, C, so you see the last non-repeating character here, it would be A, then there will be no last repeating character, then it will be B, and then it will be C. Let's copy our custom input that I'm using in our whiteboard. So we will try to compile and run it. And as you see, your output should be ABCC BTD hash E. So you see, just by replacing a queue by a stack, it has started giving us last non-repeating character. So yeah, that is all for today. So we learned about hash maps, queues and stacks. Hope it helped you somewhere in how to think about which data structure to use, how to approach a particular problem, etc. Please let me know in the comment section if it helped you anyhow. Without that, I would not be able to understand if I'm even helping anyone. Also, feel free to ask me any question or any doubts in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer. Thanks a lot if you're still watching. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye.